Very good morning to you. So what is the situation with regards to the roads and the law enforcement agencies? Are they doing anything different this year in order to put paid to fatalities on our roads?
Very good morning to you too, Blaine. In terms of, seeing more road officials on the road here in the Eastern Cape, and as well as many roadblocks where our colleague also, Busisiwe Jemsana Mandashe, was at one earlier on this morning, we are definitely seeing a lot of road officials on the road. So in terms of making sure, specifically on your routes that are leading out and leading into the different towns and as well as provinces, we are seeing a lot of visibility in terms of our traffic officials. But even at the taxi ranks, the taxi associations are also playing their part. Right now we are at Ncedo Taxi Association with cameraman Ugobani Blom, who's just showing you around in terms of people that will be commuting, making their way in and around the Eastern Cape. We do know that they've employed their own officials as well in terms of, checking whether the drivers are ready, whether the cars are road safe as well, and, whether the drivers are not fatigued or whether they have had any alcohol whatsoever. And the tolerance here is zero alcohol. We're going to speak to a taxi driver who's been driving for a number of years, Utatu January. Tell us in terms of your preparation as a driver, a long route, where are you off to now, and what are some of the things that you look out for?
Thina ke singu-driver kuqala funeke sizilungiselele ukulungiselela ke siyalala siyaphumla ukwenzela uba sikwazi uyofika nto siya kuzo. Okwesibini ke iimoto za-inspector njengoba ubona phaa etshenini uqalwe kwi-verification yamakhadi kujongwe i-condition yelayisensi neyemoto, amatayere, nanjengoba ubona ngasemva namatrailer siwafakayo kwenzela uba abantu bangadibanisi impahla nabantu. Inkosi.
Singathi mhlawumbe utata usendleleni eyaphi ngoku kwaye wena njengamnini wemoto singathi xa uqinisekisa into yoba imoto yakho i-right for indlela phambi uba uze apha etaxi rank, zithini into ozijongayo?
Ndiye King ngoku ndiyojika ndibuye. Imoto njengoba uyibona nawe, imoto iyile nakwi-fitness test nakwi-insurance, yonke into is approved. Nami ke ndiyaqiniseka before ndikhwele emotweni lanto i-pre-inspection ndiyenzile, imoto ifit. Nakwezi stats zethu ke imoto eziphuma apha zarekhod nee-passenger list hamba nazo endleleni. Asibi nayo ke into yoba imoto ife endleleni okanye iwe, asinayo lolo lisho yonke le minyaka ke idlulileyo.
Nkosi kakhulu ke tata, siyabulela. Well, Blaine, there we have it, looking at the Eastern Cape in terms of the stats that we have from last year's festive season, over 230 fatalities on the road, and of those it included over 190 vehicles. And so, in terms of public transport, we know here in the Eastern Cape it's very popular, people going home to Mthatha, King Williamstown, etc., Queenstown. And so it's very important that as well as the public transport officials are also very strict in terms of what's happening on the roads. As we've heard from Utatu January, the driver here, he says they're very strict before you can even come and park your taxi, so that people, are loaded and they're on their way to the various destinations. There are certain checks that are being done. They have to sleep, and if one has had time to sleep and they look tired, they are requested to bring an assistant driver. But with that, from here, Njoli, it's back to you in studio.
Yeah, the advice is if you're feeling fatigued, it's best to stop every 2 hours or every 200 kilometers. You mentioned some of the fatalities in the past. What sort of lessons have been learned? What are traffic authorities telling you? And where are the hotspots?
Listening to the interview earlier on, Blaine, from a spokesperson here with transport within the province, Unati Bingose, he said, another trend that they had picked up from the previous festive season were also your pedestrians that weren't watching out on the road. There were a lot of also head-on collisions, which they were, appealing to drivers to actually rest, because they were saying that it might be the issue of not having enough rest. People might be falling asleep on the roads, and also drinking and driving, which they're very strict on. But as we can see currently here at this taxi rank, they are having those tests before a driver drives out. And they also mentioned earlier, if you come in from Cape Town, they force you to rest. You can't drive for over 6 hours and then still, be on your way out again. So I think those are the things that they're looking out for. They've also urged that passengers also be alert to help the drivers on the road if, they maybe miss something or an oncoming car to yell or indicate something. But everyone in the car must be alert. And roadworthiness was also a big one there, Blaine, in terms of cars that are roadworthy, tires being on check, because those things are some of the issues that then end up having a ripple effect and causing accidents. But like the driver we spoke to now said, Mr. January, he said, in his experience of driving, there's nothing more important than driving a car that's roadworthy and a car that's insured and making sure that you're ready for the road.
Salient advice indeed. Iviwe Poti, live for us in the East Cape. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. All right.